Effects 3 Firmware 9 full release. Let's look at some stuff. I did a video on the beta release, or as everybody's going to let me know in the comments, why do you say it beta and not beta now? Where it used to be, why do you say beta when it's beta? So I've got to say it both ways now. It's like that scene in Liar Liar where he's got the pen and he's trying to say it's red, but he says it's royal blue. That's my life right now. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Axe effects. So let's just hear some stuff. I've got the Friedman BE C45 and I've got this TV mix IR that I made. It's on Axechange if you look for it. I don't think you can get to it through Axe Edit. You have to go to the Axechange website to get this IR. This is my PRS SC245, stock settings on the BE. So that sounds thick, a little bit too thick in the low end. I'll turn the bass down, and this actually starts to sound a lot like my Marshall DSL head, which I really like. And before you turn this off, I'm going to do some of the cleaner amps as well. I just like high gain so much that I want to start with it. There was a little bug with the output EQ that when you set the output EQ location to input, so really making it an input graphic EQ, the frequencies weren't doing what they're meant to be doing, but now they're doing what they are meant to be doing. So if you go to the output EQ and set the location to input, you can select between a bunch of different graphic EQs for the input section. So let's use this little trick to kind of shape what's going into the amp. One good thing for your guitar is it's like putting it on, a low carb, high protein diet and sending it to the gym, is to pull out a bunch of low end pre-gain and to really boost the mid-range. So let's pull out these frequencies here, the lows, and let's boost 1K and 2K, and I'll pull out a bit of 8K as well just to smooth things out. Have a listen to the sound now. And you can kind of fine tune that balance. I'm probably boosting maybe a bit too much 1K. Let's try less 1K and more 2K just for something fun. Also put a little bit of 4 in there as well. And you can kind of play around with that balance. Of course, we could turn this off and we could use the input EQ, which is like an input filter, and we could turn the low cut up, say to about 250, and then we could set a mid boost using whatever frequency we like here. For example, if we go for a lower frequency. And there's a little trick that I picked up, I forget who mentioned it on the forum. If you go into the preamp section and you look at the tone stack frequency, that if you set your input EQ to the tone stack frequency, that does some pretty juicy stuff. Let's try it at 600 Hertz. That's pretty cool. That really thickens the mids up. I think I'll try it at double that frequency, just cause. Let's hear it 1200. I think I like 1200 a little bit more, just for the sort of slightly more modern take on that, but it does sound really fat at 600. So that's the BE C45. Let's try another high gain amp. I haven't done a video with the rectifiers for a little while, so let's go with my favorite, Recto 1 Red. With the Rectos, what I like to do is turn the master volume down. Much like the real amps, I'll compensate by turning the level up a little bit. Let's just hear this at the stock settings. There's just something about playing this particular type of amp that just puts a big smile on my face. So, what would I change there? Maybe give it some more mids. My real Rev G Recto or Rev F sharp, whatever model it is, I think it's a transition model, has a really cool thing that when you hit it with like a clon style boost, it really, really comes to life. So one way we could do that, again, is with that output EQ, but setting it to the input. And maybe let's just try a different band. Let's try like the 7 band. Oh, cool. I can boost 1600 with the 7 band. So let's really boost that. And I'll again pull out a lot of this and a lot of this stuff and smooth it out a little bit there. Let's hear this. This should be pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Did you notice that I didn't even have it on and I was like, yeah, this sounds sick. I like it. There's a placebo effect in action, ladies and gentlemen. But when I turned it on, it was even more awesome on top of it being more awesome. So what I could also do is, instead of doing this, is just use a boost. And I love the grinder boost so much. So much with this rectifier. It's one of the most glorious things I've ever heard. Yeah, that sounds sick. Another classic modern high gain amp that I haven't played with for quite a while is the 5150, or as they're known in the Axe FX 3, the PVH 6160. Let's try the block logo version of this. I'll turn the master down a little bit. Again, what I would do on a real 5150, kind of like the Recto as well. Now with these, the presence and depth control they're really, really important to play around with, whether you boost them or cut them. I'm trying to remember what I used to do. I used to own a 6505 combo that I toured with in the States for years. I think it was probably turn the presence up to about there and probably turn the depth down. I think they're like that on the real amp, so they kind of face one another. And then I just used to set everything else to about 7. And yeah, that was that was just what I used forever. And I think I used to have an SD1 as a boost. So let's put an SD1 on as a boost as well. Just for some fun, that would be the Super OD. Let's hear it without and then with. That is sick, even without a boost. Yeah, the 5150 is kind of a classic amp for a very, very good reason. So I need to revisit that one. The Herbie is another favorite, the 3-channel version. I'm actually just going to quickly reset the amp block over here, which you can do by going Edit, Reset Block. So this is the Herbie at the stock setting. Kind of sounds like there's a blanket over the speakers at the moment. And, you know, the Diezels are kind of like modified Marshalls. So let's push the mids and the treble and see what that does. I think this one needs some presence as well. Let's try that. And I have a feeling this is probably going to react well to turning the master up, kind of like the Soldanos, so let's do that. That's a good sounding amp model. That's without a boost either. All I might do is go and turn the low cut frequency up a bit just to, you know, pull out a bit of excess low end that's pushing the gain. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's try, what could we try? Let's try something that's not ridiculous high gain, because then we can play around with that speaker impedance parameter in there. Let's try the Matchbox, the Matchless DC30 model. Where is that? It would be under M, and M comes somewhere before P, and I'm looking at P at the moment. There we go. Matchbox D30 stock settings. Let's hear it. Probably not the, actually it's not the stock settings, the treble's all the way up. Let's bring that down a bit. Probably not going to sound great with this guitar, but let's try it anyway. Actually, it sounds pretty good. I'll try some sort of bluesy stuff with this. I might just push the drive a little bit. All these like Vox derivative amps, like the AC20, and obviously the Vox models in there, the Dr. Z amps as well, sound pretty fantastic. Yeah, they totally can't handle intermodulation distortion. Alright, let's try the speaker impedance parameter. If you go to the power amp section, it's down here next to transformer match. So let's try it at extreme settings. We'll try it at 2, and we'll try it at like a half, emulating some mismatch both ways. It's made everything louder, so I'll just turn this down a little bit. Not very scientific, but whatever. Let's try it at 0.5. You know, probably more subtle values are going to be more usable in a real world situation. I'll probably have to turn this guy up a little bit. Let's try this. And I'm trying to play like bluesy stuff on a guitar in drop C. Not a great life choice, ladies and gentlemen, but you can hear there that with the speaker impedance at 2, it sounds a lot sort of rattier and a little bit more like it's going to blow up, whereas with the speaker impedance down here, I don't know, it's like a little bit smoother and more articulate. So maybe what I would do is turn it up maybe like 10% or something really subtle from the stock value, something like this. So that sounds pretty cool. Let's try another like Class A style model like the AC20 12AX7 treble. You don't really have to do a whole lot with this amp. Again, I'm going to reset the amp lock because I've been tweaking stuff out which carries over. So on the authentic page, input drive, high cut, I haven't done anything, sounds like this. That sounds so good. That's like the perfect edge of breakup tone to me. And of course, I want more gain. We should put a treble booster in front of this for the, you know, the Brian May thing. Let's try that with it off and then I'll kick it on. And of course, I don't know any Brian May style licks, but that's pretty interesting. This AC20 sounds so good. Let's turn the treble booster off, and I'll turn the high cut back down a little bit. We could try a different drive in front of that, but let's, again, try the speaker impedance. Again, I'll just turn it up a little bit because I think that's where I like it. But of course, don't forget that as you turn it up, it makes everything louder, and it's really easy to interpret loud as good. So I should probably turn the level down just a little bit to compensate for it. I reckon this amp with this guitar would actually benefit from a bit of input EQ tweaking. Turn the low cut up because it's really flubbing out. And let's try that tone stack thing again. Tone stack at 700 hertz here. So let's set the frequency to double that, 1400. And I'll give that a bit of a pump up. Sounds like this. You know, I think the big thing I noticed coming from the AX8 to the Axe FX3 was that the Fenders and the Marshalls sounded better. And it sounds like on this firmware that the Class A models really, you know, whether you can tell the difference side by side, but they feel and they sound so good. The AC20 and the Matchless, I'm going to start working these into my like gigging presets because they sound amazing. Having said all of that, let's try like a Fender amp model. The Deluxe Reverb is a really good one. And because I'm using this 4x12 greenback IR, you can kind of turn this into a rock amp, turn the bass down, turn the treble up, and add lots of input drive, and it sounds pretty great. It sounds Marshall-y. And, you know, just add a tube screamer with the preamp section in there and it should be pretty cooking. And this one's really nice because it will clean up with your guitar volume control if you turn the boost off. You can do that old like twin humbucker guitar thing where the volume control on this is wide open and this one is turned down. So you got your clean sound. And then you got your dirty sound just by changing pickups. So that's pretty awesome as well. The Deluxe Reverb is a real sleeper classic rock amp, and I would encourage people to check it out because it does the clean to mean thing. You could also attach a scene controller to the input drive and let the Axe Effects scenes kind of manage the amount of drive if you don't want to use your guitar volume and tone control on that. Let's see, is there anything else on here? Oh yeah, the Mark IV models sound ridiculous on this. I'm just going to go to my blocks library and bring up a Mark IV model. I think probably this one, even though it says tight C++, defaults right here. That's absolutely my happy place as a guitar player. You know, you go into the delay block, and someone was complaining on my YouTube channel that digital delays can never sound good. Well, if that's what you think, just do this, because analog delays have a very specific sound because, you know, bucket brigade delay types, you needed to filter out a lot of the high end to get rid of like the excessive clock noise that those chips have. So they're inherently got a lot of low pass filtering on. So, I mean, if you just take the digital mono, turn the mix up, at the stock settings you get this. So people might interpret that sort of like high fidelity as being harsh. So what you do is set the filter slope to like 48 dB and just turn the high cut down all the way to like 2K and turn the low cut up a bit to like 100, and now it sounds a lot warmer and analog, right? Kind of magic, like your delay just sits a little bit nicer. It's not clashing as much with your overall guitar tone, and it's wonderful for lead guitar stuff in there. The advantage with the digital delay is you've got control. Like you can go and add modulation in there if that's what you want, like a sine wave LFO here. I'll just chuck a little bit of it on with a depth at 20%. That sounds really nice. Or you could add a ducking delay. I like the attenuation about, you know, over 20 dB, and I set the release time over 100 milliseconds. That way it will kind of swell in a really natural way. That's kind of nice, especially if you turn the mix on the delay up, then the ducker is moving it out of the way. And you'll also notice that I dropped my pick. And I've made the mistake of not having a pick like within grabbing distance. So yeah, it sounds like this. Also forgot about this FC mode, that when you're in the computer editor, you can turn this little button on, show FC, and then like if I'm editing, say, the perform mode over here in Axe Edit, it will bring up the perform mode on the FC controller, which is awesome. So yeah, I said this was going to be stuff, and there is some Axe Effects 3 stuff on Firmware 9. If you haven't upgraded yet, you can do it through the editor now, or you can go to the Fractal website and grab it. I'm going to do some more guitar playing for the rest of the day. You guys stay excellent. Thanks for watching, and I am going to see you next time.